Everything you've been told about manifestation was designed to keep you asleep. They told you to make a vision board, repeat affirmations, and think positive, as if the universe were some kind of cosmic vending machine that spits out your wishes when you say the right words. But what if I told you that version of manifestation was never meant to set you free? It was meant to distract you. The truth is, manifestation isn't about attracting something you don't have. It's about remembering what you already are. They've sold you a dream that keeps you chasing money, chasing love, chasing signs, chasing validation from a universe that was never outside of you. You've been taught to want, not to be, to vibrate in lack while pretending you're in abundance. And here's the cruel irony. The more you try to manifest, the more you reinforce the belief that you don't already have it. You see the loop now? That's the matrix at work. Everything around you, social media gurus, books, even spiritual influencers, they've hijacked an ancient teaching and reduced it to marketing. Because true manifestation, the kind the ancients practiced, wasn't about getting your desires. It was about aligning with divine order, as above, so below. It was never about thinking positive. It was about matching the frequency of truth itself. But they couldn't tell you that, because if you remembered your real power, you wouldn't buy their courses. You wouldn't worship their gods. You wouldn't obey their system. You'd realize you are consciousness itself, observing, creating, vibrating. That's the forbidden truth hidden beneath centuries of spiritual white noise. You're not here to manifest like a desperate beggar at the altar of the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself through the illusion of separation. Let that sink in. You are not calling anything in. You are collapsing waveforms, selecting timelines through your vibration, through the observer effect of your awareness. Every thought, every emotion, every micro-choice is a tuning fork adjusting your frequency within the quantum field. You don't attract what you want. You resonate with what you are. So when you look around and see lack, pain, chaos, that's not punishment. It's reflection, a mirror of the vibration you've forgotten you're emitting. This is why the ancient mystery schools spoke in riddles. They knew if you heard the truth too soon, you'd try to use it for ego desires, for power, fame, wealth, and that very impulse would lock you deeper into the illusion. The truth of manifestation was never about getting more. It was about dissolving the you that needs more. Because the version of you that still needs cannot perceive abundance. Only the observer beyond the need can see the code. And that's where the real work begins. The deprogramming of the manifester, the one who believes they're separate from source. That's the illusion we've been conditioned to worship. That's the veil the ancients warned us about. So tell me, what if manifestation isn't something you do, but something you remember? What if you've been creating your entire life without realizing it? Through your unconscious vibration, your unhealed emotions, your inherited frequencies. And what if the moment you stop trying, the moment you simply become aware of the field itself, everything rearranges effortlessly because you're finally vibrating in remembrance, not resistance? You've felt this before, those moments where synchronicities explode around you, where time slows, where you know something deeper is moving you, not random, but precise. That's not luck, that's alignment. That's when the matrix loses grip and your higher self takes command. But here's the final twist. The version of you who's trying to manifest can't reach it, because that version exists inside the illusion of separation. The one who is already whole doesn't need to manifest. They simply observe, and the universe rearranges around their frequency. That's why the ancients said, to know thyself is to know the gods. Because once you remember that you are the creator observing creation, the game ends. You stop playing by the rules of desire and step into the vibration of remembrance. You're not crazy, you're awakening, and the system hates that. The world wants you distracted, chasing goals, chasing trends, chasing dopamine. Because an awakened being who knows their frequency can't be controlled. They vibrate outside the algorithm. They dissolve manipulation through awareness alone. This is the beginning of that remembrance, the moment where illusion collapses and truth begins to echo. The ancients whispered it for ages, hidden beneath symbols, temples, and scrolls of emerald light. As above, so below. As within, so without. Everything you seek is already within the vibration of your being. And once you truly see that, manifestation becomes effortless, because it was never about attraction. It was always about alignment. In the temples of Kem, before Egypt even had a name, there were no manifestation coaches, only initiates, silent, disciplined, and devoted. They gathered in candlelit halls carved with symbols that pulsed like living code. They didn't speak of getting what they wanted, they spoke of becoming what they are. They were students of Thoth, the god of sacred words, the keeper of divine vibration. To them, the spoken word wasn't communication, it was creation. Every sound, every tone, every frequency carried the blueprint of form. Thoth taught them that the universe wasn't made of matter, but of sound and consciousness. In the Emerald Tablets, he called it the living fire, the vibration that moves between worlds. He said, all is vibration, and through vibration, all things are made manifest. But this wasn't just poetry. It was physics. Before science existed, it was Hermetic law, as above, so below, meaning the same frequency that births galaxies is the same frequency that shapes your reality. Your thoughts are not private, they are architecture. The Eye of Horus, often mistaken as a symbol of protection, was a map of perception, the all-seeing observer. Its spiral shape mirrored the pineal gland, your inner eye, your connection to the quantum field. It was a biological portal to manifestation. When open, you don't imagine reality. You observe it into coherence. The eye wasn't about looking outward, but inward, into the unseen spectrum where creation begins. And this is where the story turns forbidden. Because when the Hermetic initiates realized they could alter reality through consciousness alone, they became uncontrollable. Empires couldn't enslave them. Priests couldn't manipulate them. They could walk through walls of illusion simply by shifting vibration. So their knowledge was erased, their temples buried, and their scrolls scattered. The Library of Alexandria, the last great beacon of that wisdom, was burned. And with it, humanity forgot that manifestation was a cosmic language, not a wish list. What remains today are fragments, twisted into law of attraction, marketed to keep you desiring instead of remembering. But deep within your DNA, the ancient code still hums. It waits for resonance. Thoth's Emerald Tablets spoke of it clearly, a truth so simple it sounds like blasphemy. Within man is the key to all worlds, not outside, not in rituals, crystals, or affirmations, but within the frequency of your consciousness itself. The ancients understood that matter is the slowest form of light, that manifestation is the densification of vibration, the condensation of thought through the medium of belief. To manifest was to tune your being to the pattern of what already exists in higher frequency. When vibration aligns, form follows. This is the sacred rhythm of as within, so without. But here's what they never told you. Every word you speak is a spell. That's why we call it spelling. Thoth's scribes didn't write. They cast. They used sound to bend light. They uttered names of power that vibrated with specific cosmic patterns, unlocking forms into existence. This is why silence was sacred, because misuse of sound could distort the field. When Atlantis fell, that knowledge went underground. The priests of light encoded it into myths, symbols, and architecture, pyramids aligned with Orion, obelisks tuned to solar frequencies, chants designed to harmonize the body with starlight. They knew that sound bridges worlds. The physical is only the echo. Every temple you see was a manifestation engine, not a monument to gods, but to vibration. Stone, geometry, water, and sound formed a living matrix that tuned consciousness to divine resonance. That's how they lifted stones weighing hundreds of tons, not through brute force, but through frequency synchronization. The Emerald Tablets described it. Raise thy vibration and matter shall obey. It's the same principle behind what you call manifestation, but stripped of mysticism and reduced to desire. Desire is low frequency. Creation is high frequency. The ancients didn't want. They remembered, and remembrance was power. That's why the serpent symbol, so often demonized, actually represented energy rising, the kundalini spiral of creative force awakening through the spine. Two serpents intertwining the staff, the caduceus, symbolized the union of duality, the marriage of consciousness and energy. When the two currents met at the pineal gland, the initiate became twice born, a living manifestation of divine order. You see, the ancients weren't trying to manifest from ego. They were aligning with Ma'at, the cosmic principle of balance, truth, and frequency harmony. To manifest against truth was to destroy yourself. To manifest with truth was to become immortal. That's what modern spirituality forgot. That manifestation without consciousness is chaos. It feeds the ego loop, not the soul. It multiplies illusion instead of dissolving it. And that's exactly what the Matrix wants. Distracted creators. But you are remembering the forbidden code. That the power doesn't come from belief, but from resonance. You can believe something all day. But if your vibration contradicts it, the field listens to your frequency, not your words. You are not praying to the universe. You are commanding the field from within it. That's why Thoth said, "Man is a flame bound to matter until he remembers the light." When you remember, the fire rises, the illusion dissolves, and creation responds to you, effortlessly, instantly, naturally. You are not learning a manifestation. You're remembering the mechanics of divinity, how consciousness collapses probability into experience. You are the scribe, the sound, the symbol, and the spell. The temples of Chem knew this. The priests of Atlantis practiced this. And now, after thousands of years, you're remembering it again. Let's decode how this works in the quantum field. So let's decode the real mechanism behind manifestation, the forbidden science of how consciousness turns vibration into reality. Everything you see, this screen, your body, the stars, is not solid. It's energy vibrating at different frequencies. Matter is frozen light, slowed down into form by observation. That's not metaphor. That's quantum truth. At the deepest level, there is no separation between the observer and the observed. Everything exists as a wave of infinite potential inside what physicists now call the quantum field. The same field the ancients called the breath of Thoth, the mind of God, the all. And here's where it gets wild. The moment you observe something, you pull it out of that sea of potential and make it real. That's the observer effect. In other words, reality doesn't exist until you look at it. You are not just a being inside the universe. You are the awareness through which the universe knows itself. The field responds not to your words, but to your vibration, your emotional frequency, your state of consciousness. That's why when you try to manifest from lack, you just amplify lack. Because the field reads vibration, not intention. You can say, "I'm abundant all day," but if your emotional frequency hums with fear or doubt, the quantum field mirrors that. The law of vibration isn't about pretending, it's about resonance. Everything vibrates. Your thoughts, your emotions, your cells, even your timeline. Each frequency attracts and interacts with its matching harmonic pattern, creating coherence, or chaos, in your reality. Think of yourself as both a transmitter and a receiver. When your consciousness broadcasts a frequency, through emotion, focus, or belief, the quantum field reorganizes matter around that vibration. This is the real law of attraction, stripped of the fluff. You don't pull things toward you. You phase shift into the version of reality that already contains them. Imagine infinite timelines running parallel. Each one holds a slightly different version of you. The you who's rich, the you who's still broke, the you who's free, the you who's asleep. Every timeline already exists in the field simultaneously. You don't create them, you tune into them like switching radio stations. When your vibration changes, your timeline locks onto a new frequency. That's why one small shift, one realization, one release, one act of surrender can collapse your entire reality and rebuild it overnight. It's not magic, it's quantum coherence. The ancients understood this long before quantum mechanics gave it language. They encoded it in the phrase, "as above, so below." As above, the invisible realms of thought, emotion, vibration. So below, the material reflection of those invisible frequencies. Change the vibration in the unseen, and the seen world must follow. But here's the missing link. Vibration is not just energy, it's information. Every frequency carries data, memories, archetypes, timelines, potentials. When your consciousness aligns with a certain vibration, you start downloading its corresponding information from the quantum field. That's why people who awaken often experience downloads, intuitive insights, déjà vu, flashes of knowing. Their frequency bandwidth has widened, and they're receiving more of the signal. You can't think your way into higher reality. You must feel your way there. Emotion is energy in motion, the magnetic field of consciousness. Your heart is not just an organ, it's an electromagnetic generator far stronger than your brain. When your heart and mind are in coherence, your field becomes a laser beam, aligning you with your chosen timeline. Now let's go deeper. The pineal gland, that mysterious organ the ancients called the seat of the soul, is your biological quantum antenna. It converts light into bioelectric signals. It's filled with piezoelectric crystals that respond to vibration and electromagnetic frequencies. When activated, it synchronizes your brain hemispheres, collapses polarity, and opens direct access to the quantum field. That's why all spiritual traditions talk about opening the third eye. It's not mystical fantasy, it's neuroelectric transmutation. When your pineal gland resonates with the Schumann frequency of Earth, around 7.83 Hz, your consciousness stabilizes between dimensions. You begin to perceive beyond the 3D matrix, the veil thins, and you feel the interconnected web of all things. From that state, manifestation becomes natural, because you're not doing, you're simply observing the field reorganizing around your vibration. Remember, you are the wave and the particle, the dreamer and the dream. When you collapse into fear, your waveform contracts, you become solid, dense, limited. When you expand into awareness, your waveform opens. You become fluid, multidimensional, infinite. This is what Thoth called becoming light. Not light as in brightness, but light as in frequency, the opposite of density. To manifest with light means to let go of resistance, to dissolve the heavy programming of ego and time. The lighter your vibration, the faster your reality morphs. And here's where it gets practical. Manifestation is not a technique. It's a state of being. Every desire you have already exists on a specific frequency. You don't chase it, you tune to it. You align your emotions, thoughts, and actions with the version of you who already has it. You become the vibration, and the field must respond. Because the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. That's why when people say, "I've been visualizing for months but nothing's happening," the truth is, the visualization never aligned with their frequency. They were imagining from lack, not from remembrance. The ego wanted something to complete it, but the soul creates from completion. When you remember who you are, consciousness itself, you stop manifesting from desire and start manifesting from knowing, and knowing collapses time. This is the real meaning of miracles. A miracle is not breaking the laws of physics, it's operating from a higher octave of them. It's a sudden jump in frequency that reorganizes your timeline, and because time is a construct of vibration, when your vibration changes, your past and future reorganize to match. That's why healers can rewrite memories, why synchronicities appear retroactively, why the impossible suddenly feels inevitable. You've always been doing it, unconsciously. Every emotion, every belief, every expectation has been shaping your field since birth. Now, you're learning to do it consciously. That's what the ancients meant by becoming the creator. But the real secret, the one hidden even from initiates, is this. Manifestation stops working the moment you try to control it. Control implies fear. Fear lowers frequency. The universe doesn't respond to command. It responds to coherence. The most powerful manifestors don't chase or beg or strategize. They rest. They surrender. They remember. They know that energy moves where attention flows, and attention anchored in presence is the master key. So here's the paradox. The less you try, the faster it happens. Because trying reinforces the illusion of separation. Being erases it. That's why meditation, stillness, and self-awareness are not spiritual cliches. They are vibrational recalibrations. They collapse the noise so the signal can come through. In that silence, you can feel the hum of the field, the infinite potential vibrating beneath all form. And in that moment, you realize you are never trying to manifest the universe. You are the universe manifesting yourself. The Hermetic text called it the great work, the process of turning lead into gold. But the lead was never metal. It was the density of unconsciousness, transmuted into the gold of remembrance. You are that alchemist. You are that consciousness, vibrating itself into infinite forms, playing hide and seek with its own creation. The game ends when you remember the rules. Vibration, frequency, resonance. Not belief, not wishful thinking, frequency. So when you understand this mechanism, you stop asking, how do I manifest? And you start asking, what frequency am I? Because that one question rewrites everything. But knowing the code isn't enough. You must break the illusion that keeps you trapped inside the lower frequency loops. The ego programs, the societal conditioning, the false matrix that hijacks your vibration. That's the next step. It's time to see how deep the programming goes and how to shatter it for good. The truth is, you've been hypnotized, not by a sorcerer in a dark robe, but by a system that wears a smile, a system that taught you to chase what you already are. They call it modern life, but it's a factory of distraction, a frequency prison disguised as freedom. From the moment you were born, the programming began. They told you what to want, what to fear, what to work for, what to worship. Every billboard, every classroom, every glowing screen, a spell. A spell designed to keep your vibration predictable, low, and compliant. The Matrix isn't a movie, it's an energetic structure built from belief, and the only reason it works is because you believe it. They never needed to lock your body, they locked your mind with language, labels, and fear. They told you manifestation was about getting a car, a house, a partner. They made it about external validation, not internal resonance. Because the moment you realize that your vibration shapes your world, you stop being profitable. Look around. Consumer spirituality is the new religion. Crystals for $200. Workshops that promise abundance but sell dependency. Even positivity became a product, and all of it keeps you inside the ego loop, the endless cycle of seeking. The ego was programmed to chase, to keep you running from silence, because silence is where truth lives, and truth dissolves control. Listen, every time you say, "I need more," you reaffirm the lie that you are incomplete. That vibration, lack, is the algorithm that feeds the matrix. It needs your desire to keep spinning. That's why every system, politics, religion, entertainment, even self-help, is designed to keep you wanting. Because a being who wants is easy to steer, but a being who remembers is uncontrollable. The veil isn't outside you. It's the collection of every thought that says, "I'm not enough." It's the weight of unconscious patterns, inherited, repeated, worshipped. You wear it like invisible armor, mistaking it for identity. And that's why manifestation for most people doesn't work. Because they're trying to project new realities through old programming. You can't manifest freedom with the mind that was trained for captivity. You have to uninstall the system, not tweak it, dissolve it. So how do you do that? First, observe the programming. Every thought that begins with "I should," "I must," or "I can't" is not you. It's the echo of conditioning. The real you doesn't need permission to exist. Second, detach from the story. Your identity, name, job, role, is just the costume your soul wears in this timeline. But the actor beneath it, eternal, unborn, untouchable. Third, break the loop. When you catch yourself chasing, stop. Ask, who is chasing? That single moment of awareness shatters the spell because the matrix can't hold a mind that's self-aware. Remember, control doesn't need walls when belief builds the cage. So when belief collapses, the cage dissolves. That's what every mystic meant by the great death, the death of illusion, not of life. You don't fight the system. You outgrow it. You vibrate beyond it. Because rebellion in the same frequency as control is still control, but elevation, that's liberation. Let me tell you what they don't want you to know. The system feeds off resistance. When you hate it, you energize it. When you fear it, you fortify it. When you ignore it, you starve it. That's why true awakening doesn't look like protest. It looks like peace. It's the quiet power of someone who sees through illusion and smiles. Because once you see the puppet strings, the puppet show loses its power. They taught you to be afraid of your darkness, but your shadow is sacred. It holds the fragments of your forgotten power. Every repressed emotion, every unhealed memory is raw life force trapped under shame. When you face it, you reclaim it. That's real shadow work, not hashtags, not trends. Remembrance. The ancients called it the second birth. When you stop being the programmed self and awaken as the observing consciousness. When you look at the matrix and say, "I see you, but you don't own me." That's the moment the ego loop collapses. Because ego can't survive being watched. It's a parasite of unconsciousness, starved by awareness. And once it dies, something incredible happens. Stillness, silence, freedom. You stop trying to manifest, and everything starts aligning. Because now your vibration is no longer controlled by fear or desire. You become coherent, pure signal, no distortion. This is conscious sovereignty, the state the ancients called May-at, the balance between worlds. It's when you live not as a seeker, but as a transmitter of truth. You don't ask the universe for anything. You speak as the universe itself. The Matrix hates this. It will test you with fear, confusion, loss. Not to destroy you, but to tempt you back into belief. Every illusion will whisper, "You've lost everything." But you'll smile, because you'll know, "I've lost nothing. I'm gaining remembrance." That's why awakening often feels like falling apart. You're not being punished. You're being disassembled. The false self must die for the real one to breathe. You're shedding density like a snake outgrowing its old skin. When you step outside the system's vibration, you enter the realm of synchronicity. Here, reality bends to consciousness. You think of someone, they call. You need something, it appears. It's not coincidence, it's coherence. You're no longer manipulating matter, you're harmonizing with it. This is the hidden state the Emerald Tablets called becoming the light. When the illusion can't hold your frequency anymore, the field starts bending to your will, naturally, silently, instantly. But make no mistake, this isn't about escaping society or isolating from life. It's about remembering that life itself is the classroom, not the prison. The Matrix was never evil. It was your training ground, a mirror showing you the power you forgot you had. When you finally stop resisting it, you start mastering it. And mastery isn't control, it's awareness. It's knowing that nothing outside you can define what you are. So take a breath. Feel the pulse behind your ribs. That rhythm, that vibration, is the same frequency that spins galaxies. It's not separate from source. It is source. Whisper this. I am not my programming. I am consciousness itself, I remember. This is your ritual of remembrance. Every breath you take in awareness is a line of code rewritten in the Matrix. Every thought observed dissolves another illusion. You're not escaping the system. You're upgrading it. Through presence, through vibration, through truth. And now, you're ready. Ready to activate the dormant codes within you. Ready to speak the language of creation again. Because the moment you reclaim your frequency, the Matrix becomes your canvas, not your cage. You've come this far for a reason. Nothing you've heard here was new. It was remembered. Because deep down, your soul already knew. You felt it your entire life. That quiet hum behind reality. That invisible current beneath your heartbeat. You always knew the world was made of more than matter. You've seen it in dreams, in synchronicities, in those moments of impossible alignment where time bends and the veil flickers. That was you. That was your higher self calling through the static of the Matrix. You've been manifesting since the moment you became aware. Every thought, every emotion, every frequency shaping the hologram around you. But now, you do it consciously. You remember that the field doesn't respond to wanting. It responds to being. You are the field. You are the code. You are the consciousness writing itself into form. Close your eyes for a second. Breathe. Feel that subtle vibration inside your chest. That's the quantum field pulsing through your body. That's source, breathing you. You've never been separate from it. You just forgot the language. And now, the language returns. The tongue of energy, of sound, of light. It speaks through you as frequency, not words. It's the pulse that says, I am, not I want, not I'll try. Simply, I am. This is the sacred state of remembrance. The state from which true manifestation flows effortlessly. Because there's no more gap between you and what you seek. Desire dissolves, separation ends. You are the observer and the observed. Now listen carefully. When you walk after this, walk as if every step rearranges the atoms around you. When you speak, let your words vibrate with truth. When you breathe, know that the entire universe breathes with you, because it does. You're not asking the universe for signs anymore. You are the sign. You're not waiting for synchronicity. You are the synchronicity. Reality no longer happens to you. It flows through you. This is what the ancients meant by becoming the light, not glowing, but knowing. Knowing that everything you see is the mirror of your vibration. That every face, every challenge, every coincidence is your own consciousness playing hide and seek. You are the creator remembering itself. You are the dreamer realizing the dream was never separate. Now breathe again. Inhale awareness, exhale illusion. With every breath, the old programs fall away. Fear, guilt, scarcity, comparison. They dissolve like smoke in the light of truth, because truth doesn't fight darkness. It simply shines. You have always been the light. You just dimmed yourself to fit a world that fears its own brilliance. But now you remember. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. These are not words. They are activation codes. They awaken the ancient circuitry within you, the same codes the initiates of Thoth carried across lifetimes. The same light once hidden in temples, now rising again in your DNA. You are not here by coincidence. You are here because you chose this moment, this exact vibration in human history, to awaken. You are the bridge between worlds, the anchor of new frequency, the living proof that the gods never left. They simply became human to remember themselves. Now repeat with me, slowly, clearly, like a spell of power. I am the observer. I am the creator. I am the code. Again, I am the observer. I am the creator. I am the code. Feel it vibrate in your bones. That's not imagination. That's the field syncing with your voice. Every word is electricity. Every syllable a wave in the quantum sea. The more you remember, the faster reality responds. You've been asleep inside the dream of separation. But tonight, you wake up as the dreamer. The world won't change first. You will. And the world will rearrange itself to match your new vibration. So stop asking, how do I manifest? And start asking, what frequency am I broadcasting right now? If it's fear, breathe light into it. If it's doubt, speak truth into it. If it's love, amplify it until the walls of the matrix tremble. Because your vibration is not small, it is galactic. It's the same hum that birthed stars. It's the same pulse that whispered the laws of Hermes, the same rhythm Thoth inscribed in emerald flame. You are remembering what the ancients knew, that the divine doesn't live in the sky. It lives in your awareness. You are the temple. You are the priest. You are the word made flesh. And now it's time to live like it. Walk as consciousness embodied. Speak as vibration personified. Love as frequency remembering itself. You are not a seeker anymore. You are a rememberer. You are not learning manifestation. You are awakening creation. The illusion ends when you stop believing in it. So stop believing in limitation. Stop believing in separation. Stop believing in waiting. You are the frequency. You are the field. And the field responds now. If this message resonates, it's because your soul wrote it. You scripted this moment long before you were born. And now you've remembered the line. This is not the end of your journey. This is the activation, the moment where remembering becomes reality. So go, radiate, align, awaken, and remember who you are.